trip to paradise.
Are you ready? Okay, let's do it.
Well, this is something a little different now, isn't it? If you were a driver with 2 races to go in the championship on the line, is this really where you would want to come for that penultimate race? It's the Nürburgring, it's the Nordschleife, and we are here at the behest of Michael Polasek. This was his champions selection after winning the title last season. So he elected to take the series back here for the first time since season 9. And at that point, it was Logan McKenzie who took the victory with Dan McFarland P2 or P3. James Carr and Dan McFarland were both on that podium. It was a very close race throughout. But the field very strung out and very small. And today, the field definitely smaller than usual. 31 cars on the starting grid. And look who's up front. Michael Polasek sits P1. McKenzie sits P2. McKenzie currently has a 5-point lead on Michael Polasek. So they're essentially tied because 10 points separate, first from second from third. So them starting 1 and 2 there is huge. Now Polasek's lap time nearly 4 seconds faster than McKenzie. He's got a lot of pace here. Expect him to use it. Further down, McFarlane 2, Fabi, Schink, Bertolucci, Bauer, D'Amita, and then Nate Kerr up in 10th. Last week it was Evan Clavijo at Barber. Now Nate Kerr is the Delta driver qualifying up in the top 10 with the big boys. The Slug qualifying P11th. That's his best start in a long time. Damon Mitchell 12th. Dave Hernandez, the founder and manager of Tail. It's a series that exclusively raced at the ring before the Ringmeister series ever existed. So he knows the ring very well. Great to see him here. And then you have David Thomas separating him and JB DeJay, who starts third. And he's the closest championship challenger that Nate Kerr has, although Kerr's lead quite substantial at this point. So it will be interesting to see if DeJay can make any inroads today. Lazon, Darnell, Bowman, McAllister, and Clavijo round out the top 20. Further down, Micah Hendricks, not the best lap in the world, starting 21st. Tyler Potts, Tianyi Chang, Fuado Rizla is down in 24th. And then you have 7 drivers who failed to set a valid lap. The drivers only got one chance, one solo flying lap. And it's 6 actually. Spencer Clark did set a lap. But Youngsie Lin, Connor Acatella, James Carr, Lewis Gilbert, Kyle Murray, and Mitchell Rickmeyer all failed to get around the circuit cleanly for their solo flyer. But we don't have much time before green flag is waved. And there they are, down at the grid, about to get the green flag. Michael Polasek will lead us off. McKenzie on his right, and there they go, away down to turn 1. McKenzie got a good start, but so did Polasek. 2 and McFarlane are going to go down to turn 1 side by side. Bobby looking for an angle, and here they come through turn 1. Polasek on the left, McKenzie on the right, and I think he's kept that. And Polasek will be in the lead here. McFarlane looking for a lane on McKenzie, but he's not going to find one. And now they begin their trek around the GP circuit. And everyone here, the whole field, you're not going to see too much fighting. Everyone's going to want to sort themselves out before they get to the Nordschleife. So if you have an opportunity, take it, but otherwise don't lose too many positions. And oh, the Slug and Nate Kerr coming together a little bit there. That's Nate Kerr and a Honda, actually. The Delta leader switching cars right at the very end of the season. Up ahead, Dave Hernandez under heavy pressure from Ian Bertolucci, who's made a guest appearance today to challenge the Nürburgring. Oh, Damon Mitchell's going to slot right in there. And now they are reaching the end of the GP circuit. They're going to come to the fast chicane, and McKenzie is under pressure from Dan McFarlane. McFarlane looking kind of in the middle of the track and then backs off. So here they come through the chicane. And for the first time today, they will roll to the left onto the Nordschleife. And this is a monster of a track. 14 kilometers. And there they go. You see nobody going through here too wide except for Dave Thomas and Dave Hernandez. There's Chang. There's Bowman. James Carr there at the back. And so now Polasek has McKenzie, McFarlane, and Fabi not too far off. Delta leader Nate Kerr. He currently sits 12th overall, so he does a good job of surviving the GP portion and on to the section where it's really just down to, oh, Damon Mitchell and the Slug going side by side. Do you really want to do that through there? Mike D'Amita on board. To give you an idea, they're coming up to the jump and they're going to do this too wide. Mike D'Amita gives the Slug a bump draft. Oh, here they go. The slug goes a bit wide onto the grass. Oh, within a bit of a touch. They somehow got away with it. And now this whole group of cars is all stacked up here. Damon Mitchell, there at the top right. You have, that is Mike De Almeida coming up and going around the slug. He gets into a big slide. He's going to gather that up. Will he stay on track? Will he push the slug wide? No. The slug gets wide, though. He gets into a slide. And now Luzon may be looking for a move here. Can't find anything, though. McKenzie under heavy pressure from McFarlane. And Fabi under heavy pressure from Schink. So the top five all very close, but gaps are starting to form. You see, here's that group of Damon. This. Oh, he's going to look for a move there. That is bold stuff from the 6. And Mike Yamina gets the position up into 9th place. And that was a highway robbery. That was good stuff. Back up to the battle for 2nd. McFarlane still on the back of McKenzie. He's got nothing for him yet. Looking at Micah Hendricks. He is working his way around Yongsi Lin. He's gained 2 positions. Yongsi Lin has gained 6 since the start. And now on the back of his former teammate, Mark Darnell. They both used to drive for Sia. Mark Darnell has some left front damage. Gonzalo Fabi and Francois Schink going at it. Schink trying to get the nose in there as they come through the village. Now up the right-hander. Can Schink get some momentum out of that? Not able to gather anything meaningful. So now we'll watch the slug do it. On board. They go straight uphill. Use as much of the curb as you can. I think we've got a battle back here for 3rd in the Delta class. Evan Clavijo and JB DeJay. Clavijo holding the left side. DeJay's not going to give this one up. Oh, but he will have to. Clavijo goes through and onto the podium. That is a tidy little pass. Now Fabi is under more pressure from Schink as they come down to Bravery. Who's going to give? This is going to be very tight. Raymond, too, has a good view of this from behind. We'll go on board with him. The 2 Hondas ahead. Oh, Schink getting onto the right side of the track there. That may be all he needs. Around the outside of Bravery, he puts the tire onto the concrete on the right side, but he keeps the car there. That is some incredible driving, and over the curb he goes. Oh, and contact! Contact! The 2 come together. Bobby's going to have damage to the left side of his car, and more contact! What looked like a clean pass has suddenly gotten a little spicy. Bobby gets pushed out wide. He loses the position to 2, and now they're going to come through the carousel here. And David Bowers on the outside of the carousel, and he manages to slot back in ahead of Ian Bertolucci and keep that position. That's dicey stuff. I can't really believe that everyone got away with that one, but here they are. And it's a bit foggy, you may notice, because there was rain in the area. It doesn't look like any of it's going to hit the track. JB DeJay has gotten back alongside Clavijo, and this is an interesting place to go too wide. Oh, he's going to get the nose in there. Oh, but Clavijo just closes it off. And that could have ended in tears. There's been multiple moments in this race already where I thought that we were about to watch a mega crash occur. Oh, DeJay goes a bit deep there, but drivers behind him, the driver behind him actually is Micah Hendricks still. Hendricks has not been able to find a way around. And, oh, it looks like something may have happened to Dave Hernandez. He's in the wall and out of the race. So Clavijo continues to lead that group. David Thomas has gone around John Lazon, and Lazon has had something happen to him. Heavy left front damage, and I think his race may be over as well. He's going to have to limp that one to the pits. And, well, it seems drivable enough. Let's go on board. That is interesting. Actually, it's driving fairly straight, but if you look at the outside of that car, it is busted. And if we get a shot of the, yeah, look at that. I don't think that the left front's supposed to look like that. It looks like the left front has been jacked up a little bit, actually in height. So Clavijo's still 2 seconds off of Lazan. He may not catch him before the straight, which would be best case scenario. We're coming up to the second carousel, the little baby carousel. This is a tricky part of the track. It's very easy to go wide here into that gravel or kick the car into a slide. Clavijo still has a 1 point. Oh, he's gone a bit wide in the second carousel. So DeJay gets the nose in on the left side. And Lazan is the least of their worries. DeJay goes through, and actually that's not a bad move from Clavijo. If you're going to go in side by side, you might as well just get the good run down the straightaway. Speaking of runs down the straightaway, McKenzie under pressure from McFarland, but McFarland's going to give him the bump draft, actually, instead of passing him. So they will go another lap. McFarland clearly has the pace on McKenzie thus far. On the straight also, two, and Shink bump drafting. And now on the straight, you have Micah Hendricks being pushed around both Clavijo and JB DeJay by Young-Si Lin. On board with Lin, look at this. This is an incredible bump draft. He is giving him a massive shove. And now they are going to head into the final S's. And that is Lazan ahead, so that could get a little dicey. Let's see, DeJay was looking for a move. Lazan, he's gonna make it to pit. Oh no, he didn't pit. He didn't, that damage looks serious. The wheel is turned, but he misses pit road. He thinks, well, if I go one more lap, I'll be within the pit window, I suppose. But that's gonna be tough to pull off. The Slug and Damon Mitchell are going at it. Out of turn 2, they are still too wide for this 11th position. Oh, a little elbows out, and the Slug goes around. Connor Acatella in the same position as the Slug, alongside Mark Darnell into this part of the track. Oh, they almost touch, but they get away with it. And now Acatella is through, and up ahead, 2 has been passed by Fabi. So I'm not sure if that, it looked like 2 was really slowing down, like he had a slowdown or something, but Fabi goes through. Now David Bauer is right on the back of the Honda driver. They come through turn 1. They aren't that close to turn 1, cameraman. The cameramen are struggling a bit. There's quite a few spots on the track where they could place their cameras. Darnell not going to attack Acatella into the chicane. 2 may be under some pressure here. But through turn 1 of the Nordschleife, it's going to be Shink in 4th place ahead of Fabi, 2, Bauer, Bertolucci. That group of cars is still very close together. And then you see Mike D'Almeida, the Slug, Damon Mitchell. There is your Delta leader, Nate Kerr. He has a nice little gap for himself. David Thomas. There is Micah Hendricks and Young-Si Lin. They are running away from that field that they blew by on the straight. Good for them. That was a great move. And, of course, your leader, Michael Polasek. He is approaching the jump now. And you're about to get a taste of just how big this gap already is. 1 lap through this race. There he goes. And then there go McKenzie and McFarland. Now, you get past the top 3 and you wait another 6 seconds. And there's Shink, Fabi, 2, Bauer, Bertolucci, and then the rest of the group. And Darnell is under some pressure here. John Lazan on the left side of him going through the jump, and Bowman's right behind him to take advantage. Oh, Lazan is just able to get through there. Remember, Lazan has a ton of left front damage. Oh, there goes Bowman. He manages to keep it together. Car's gonna give him the space. And this is just dicey stuff that's happening here. It looks like TV3 is the sweet spot. TV1 and TV2 are out to lunch. So JB DeJay is under pressure from Connor Acatella now. Evan Clavijo is slipping away from them. You see on board with Clavijo now, looking back at DeJay. That gap is growing quite nicely for him, and he's about to secure this P2 in the Delta class if he can break the toe before they get all the way back around to the straightaway. Now, speaking of gaps, Logan McKenzie, that first lap it looked like McFarlane had the pace on him, but now not quite. And also Gonzalo Fabi, I saw him slowing. He has heavy left front damage and he is out of this race. So that changes the top 10 a little bit. It gets rid of the car in between Francois Schink and Raymond 2. Though right now it looks like Schink is the faster of the pair, so he may be trying to run away, create a little gap for himself. Remember, these cars will have to pit at some point, either lap 2 or 3. It's a 5-lap race. So laps 2 and 3 are their choices. And a mandatory tire change, of course. They'll probably be taking fronts. So that outlap will be a little bit slower than a car on regular tires. So if you go for the undercut, if you pit on lap 2, you're going to lose a couple seconds. You're going to have to make a pass. You know, if you don't have a 2 to 3 second cushion behind you and you pit on lap 2, you're going to lose a position. So that's something these drivers are going to be thinking about as they take on the ring here and they come around to what will be their first opportunity to pit. And we have maybe an opportunity for Macatella. We'll go on board with him as he follows JB DeJay. He's going to be looking for a good run onto the straight, but he's not going to get it. And DeJay is going to get away from him a little. So we'll jump to Fuado Rijla's on board. Now this is Kyle Murray in front of him, his teammate. SCRG currently leading the Delta Team Championship. Fuad's going to go around his teammate there. Spencer Clark with front end damage behind, but he may be looking for something too. And now look at this, Bowman ahead of a breakfast for dinner and a second breakfast car. John Lazon and James Carr. James Carr's gonna give him the shove, the big shove as they come up to Bravery. And through Bravery, how will Bowman do? He keeps the car well on track. Carr goes through there a bit conservatively. Bowman holds on to that 19th overall position with some rear end damage. These drivers will feel some relief that they can repair the various damage they got when they come into the pits. McKenzie and McFarlane has closed back up. So what looked like McKenzie pulling away from McFarlane initially, now not so much. Going on board with McFarlane through some very fast bits of the track here. Going very wide through that section. Very different line from McKenzie. He's going to push it as wide as he can here as well. He's not finding anything to work with yet. So we're going to go to JB DeJay because he is right back on the backside of Evan Clavijo. And I don't know if Clavijo has a slowdown or damage, but he has lost his entire advantage. And now DeJay is going to go up and a bit wide. Now down the hill they come, and Acatella looking to capitalize on this as well. Now up ahead, Micah Hendricks. He's still got Young C. Lin behind him. I imagine Lin will probably just give him the shove through the track again, or through down the straight again. Because they are looking to close that gap to David Thomas as rapid as they can. Now, John Lazon has been off track again, and I think he has collected more damage. It's really hard to tell, but he's lost Zachary Bowman and James Carr. Now, the cars come onto the back stretch, and you see Michael Polasek entering your screen. And then you have McKenzie and McFarlane. Now, McFarlane is a half second off McKenzie. It'd be interesting to see if he can actually reach McKenzie and try and pass him here. I don't know which of them is faster right now. So there goes Polasek. He's built up a 6-second gap. McKenzie breaking the toe a little bit. There he goes. McFarlane's only gained a 10th on him thus far. And you see the car is really starting to string out now. Raymond 2 has gained a little bit on Schink. And I think he's pulling Bauer and Bertolucci along. So keep an eye on that. Further back there, you see JB DeJay and Connor Acatella going too wide down the straight. And then some further battling behind is Mark Darnell and Zachary Bowman and James Carr all coming down the straight together. Let's take a look at this. Yes, they are bump drafting again. Lynn giving him the shove all the way down. DeJay is going to get passed by Acatella. Nothing he could do there. And now Bowman trying to get around Mark Darnell as they come to the end of the straight, into the final S's. James Carr will have a good view of this, and Darnell slots in behind. Whoa, and a big moment for Carr. And he manages to keep it on track, and he elects to make that his pit stop. Wow, that almost ended his race. Evan Clavijo now under pressure from Connor Acatella. Acatella trying to make it 2 passes in just a couple minutes. He's going around the outside, up the inside of turn 2, and he's made the pass. He's into 13th, excuse me, and that makes 14 positions gained for him on the day. Raymond 2 now under pressure from David Bauer as they come through the GP circuit. He's lost a little bit of ground to Francois Schink. The drivers that elected to pit this time around. Yongsi Lin decides to detach from Micah Hendricks. That's interesting that he didn't just pit with him or without him. DeJay, Lazon, Clark. Who else has... Wow, there's a lot of sectors on my display. The only person... Okay, so Lewis Gilbert's the only person down there who is not pitted. So Clark, Rickmeyer, Potts, Fabi Chang, Murray, Hernandez, and McAllister. Some of those guys are just out. But Polasek and McKenzie and McFarlane, the entire top 7 chose to stay out and go the extra lap. We're looking at Polasek now. Not too many battles on track, so we'll just watch the Master at work in action. Now, the way things stand now, coming into this race, McKenzie had about a 5-point lead. Polasek, if the standings hold as they are, he would flip that into a 5-point lead for himself. Now, McKenzie has to hold on to second place. If he does, then the 5-point gap going into the Bathurst is basically going to be winner takes all. Whoever finishes ahead of the other wins there. But if McKenzie slips behind McFarlane, then Polasek can finish 1 spot behind him at Bathurst and still win the championship. So it's very important for the 04's championship hopes that he stay ahead of the 23. Right now, he's opening up a little gap, a 9/10 of a second. And the sun getting a little low in the sky. It definitely won't set before the race is over. Not a very long race. It's going to be about 45 minutes total. Long enough for a track like this. Now David Bauer is still looking at the back of Raymond 2. We'll go on board with Ian Bertolucci. This is a pretty close group of cars, and actually an overtake on track. James Carr has gone around Lewis Gilbert for 21st. And Carr has pitted, Gilbert has not. So Carr has got the repairs, he's got the fresh tires, and he is on the hunt. Back to Ian Bertolucci. We are about halfway through this race at this point, about halfway through the 3rd lap. Two's done a good job of keeping Bauer behind while also keeping the gap to Schink from becoming something unassailable. He's still well within range depending on what happens at pit stops. But the podium positions may be out of reach. McFarlane is pretty far up there, along with McKenzie. So unless something happens to one of them, these guys are probably battling for fourth. The fog is clearing up a little bit. It's actually turning into quite a nice evening here in Germany. For Polasek, this is exactly what his championship needed. He didn't get the clean sweep at Barber, and something's happening here. Bertolucci is pushing David Bauer down the straightaway. He may be looking for a move as they come up to Bravery, or maybe he's just trying to keep them close enough to 2, because Raymond is kind of running away. He's got a 1.5 second gap to Bauer, and that is trouble for Bertolucci, because he's now going to end up losing that Honda. Now, John Lazan, he has pitted. He's got the damage repaired, and he's going to go around Lewis Gilbert as well. Oh, a little touch. Little moment on the grass. He manages to keep it there. So Bauer's gained some time back on Raymond. Raymond's lost about a 10th on Francois. And there goes Polasek through the carousel. Now, Polasek has won 4 of the last 5 races. Now, if he misses any one of those, if he doesn't win any one of those races, then the championship would look like quite bleak for him. The way that these races have been going, him and McKenzie finishing 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. He would have needed to beat McKenzie by, I think, 2 positions if he had lost even one of those races. So it's almost like he's been in playoff mode this whole time, and the feature at Barber was the one he got spotted, but he's still got no drop weeks. So every single moment, every corner here, extremely tense for the defending champion. He's carrying the number 1 quite well so far. The start of the season was shaky. It took him 7 races to get his first win. But he's won 4 races since then and launched himself right back into championship contention. Now Connor Acatella and David Thomas. Now Acatella, I believe, he just worked his way around Thomas for the 12th position. Acatella now at 15 spots. Micah Hendricks is up 10 spots. He sits in 11th position right now. So he's turning that bad qualifying into a good points result. And he's got 3rd place in the championship to protect. So this is also important points for him. Now McKenzie, he's built a 2-second gap to McFarlane behind. And McFarlane is just losing him a 10th there, a 10th here. It's death by 1,000 cuts. Sometimes he makes inroads. There's certain parts of the track where he is faster, but he's not even going to have the slipstream on this lap unless McKenzie makes some kind of error through, oh no, that was the corner onto the straight. So a 1.9 second gap to McFarlane on the straight. And so we look here again and look at how these gaps have grown. There goes Polasek. And everyone you see here will surely be pitting on this lap. And it doesn't look like McFarlane is getting any benefit from the slipstream. Now, Raymond, Schink, he may have made some kind of error. Raymond gained 1.5 seconds on him and got into the slipstream. So that is huge. There may be a battle for 4th by the end of this race. Connor Acatella is also going to be in Micah Hendricks' slipstream as Polasek hits pit road. Acatella on the right side of Hendricks. McKenzie and McFarlane are on pit lane. Ian Bertolucci does not get around Bauer. These two are still going down the straight, neck and neck, and now here they come to the final S's. And I think Hendricks is going to have it. He came back at Acatella in the final portion of the straight, and that was enough. Delta leader Nate Kerr joins the rest of the field on pit lane, and pit lane, it is busy down there. One of our cameramen is surely on pit road. Maybe, maybe not, but there goes Polasek. I've been told that this is pit road, but I think that is a lie. Polasek exits pit lane. And now we look to McKenzie. How big of a gap has he got on McFarlane? It looks like it's about the same, maybe slightly bigger from when they entered pit road. And now more cars on pit exit. Francois Schink's gap to Raymond shrunk even more. It's not even 7/10 now. It's not even 6/10 now. There will be a battle for that 4th spot. Now Bauer put a little bit of a gap on Bertolucci. That's good news for him. The slug, ooh, Mike De Almeida going a bit wide there, but the slug kind of following him. That's kind of the line. Who am I to judge? I've definitely driven over that bit before. Evan Clavijo exiting pit road now. He comes out ahead of JB DeJay, well ahead. And the gaps start to grow. The slug currently sits in 9th after pit stops. It's been a while since we've seen him this far up the field, and it's great to see a member of the Hall of Fame, first class, series co-founder. But when you look back at the seasons, the last time that he netted a top 10, he did get one top 10 in season 12, none in season 11. So to get one on the board today after just a couple starts in this season, that is a huge win for him as he slowly finds that pace again in that Honda. Seems to be working for him. He bears the old yellow flag colors, but currently runs as an independent. I think that car ran all the way back in season 8, season 9. I think season 9, season 8, season 10, they all kind of blend together. Francois Schenck, while I was rambling, he had a 7/10 advantage over Raymond. It kind of fluctuates. It goes from 5 to 7/10. His issue now is that Raymond is firmly within his slipstream, and as long as he can stay close to enough to him at key portions of the track, he's got a shot now. Whatever mistake Francois made towards the end of the last lap has really cost him a kind of leisurely drive to the finish, because now two can clutch onto the back of him and really fight him for it. And this is the closest battle on track. McKenzie now has a 3-second gap over McFarlane. So it looks like he is on track to take this championship battle into Bathurst, winner takes all, as long as he can hold on to that position. Delta leader Nate Kerr, his pit stop went smoothly. He stays ahead of Youngsie Lin at the moment, 2 seconds ahead of Lin, 5 seconds behind Damon Mitchell, who is the first car in the top 10. And for Nate Kerr, he's been driving the Audi all season, switches over to the Honda for this race, and he's doing fantastically. The special livery that the Bearcat Motorsports driver is running looks amazing as well. Raymond, too, has really closed this gap. We're going to go on board with him as he follows Francois Schenck. And see, this is the problem, is he's sitting in Schenk's slipstream. Even on these shorter straightaways, that's worth a couple hundredths. It's just, it spots you time. You can make very minor mistakes through corners and have a small, you almost have a handicap. So it's going to be hard for Schenck to shake him. Let's go on board with a different driver. Let's see how they get the run through here, actually. Because they're going to come down through here just before the village portion. And look at how brave Raymond was going down there. And he manages to also get the good exit. He's really close to Francois now. We're going to stay here because they are about to go through a couple of very long straightaways. It's all going to depend on the run out of this uphill right-hander. And that was a problem for 2. You heard it there. The car bottomed out. He got a little too far over to the left maybe, but the car bottomed out on corner entry and caused him to miss the apex. So he stays within Shink's slipstream, but a chance at an overtake may have just been lost. Let's see how close he can get by the time they get down to Bravery. He is not closing a whole lot of time. 0.6. I don't think he's going to get there. So we'll look to Connor Acatella, who is giving Micah Hendricks a little run for his money here for P13. Both of them are currently hunting down Youngsi Lin. Now that's interesting. Lin is very far ahead. He had a normal pit stop. How did he get so far ahead of Hendricks? How did I get, well, the undercut worked for him, I guess. He made it work for him because he pitted the lap earlier and he came out 8 seconds ahead of Hendricks, who he was bump drafting down straights before he pitted, remember. He was just that much faster than Hendricks, and the undercut served him well. Can't believe I haven't really talked about that or noticed that yet, but there you go. So good strategy from the 36, and now he's hunting down Delta leader Nate Kerr. Shink under some pressure here. Now, you can't really pass in this part of the track. So the focus for the 96 is just going to be staying as close as he can to the 18. Because you really don't even want to pass someone here until you get to the straightaway. Raymond 2 is basically going to want to be about 3 or 4 tenths off of Shink by the time they get to the straightaway. Close enough to pass him, but you don't want to pass him so early that he can get the slipstream and pass you back. So they come through the forests, and this is about the gap that 2 wants, so there is one more lap after this. The question, I think, is does he feel like he has the pace on Shink, enough confidence to stay back there? Or does he elect to do something a little different and just go for the pass now? Another very close duo is Hendricks and Acatella. Acatella's doing a great job of hanging with Hendricks, and I think he may have the pace on him. But like 2, he'll probably want to be in that position where he's behind the 4.73, and look at how close to him he is. They're going to come through the drop. He's right on top of the Crop Promotions driver. This is a fast portion of the track to be following someone this closely on. Oh. Hendricks. Oh, they both go all the way to the edge of the track, using it up as much as they can. This can be a dicey spot. Hendricks is on a narrow line, but he's gathered it up nicely. We look at the backstretch. The leaders have already gone by. They are that far ahead. McKenzie's 10 seconds behind Polasek. McFarland 4 seconds behind them, and then Shink 2 are 9 seconds behind McFarland. Bauer and Bertolucci are still stuck together here after the pit stop. So you have a couple of battles set up for the final lap, and Raymond 2 is elected to not pass Francois Shink here. So there it is. There's the strategy play for Bertolucci. It will be the same idea, so he'll stay behind Bauer. Now Youngsi Lin on the back of the Delta leader. He is not waiting. He is moving to the right. of Nate Kerr of the 513, and down through the final S's they come. There goes Damon Mitchell, and there goes Young C. Lin cutting ahead of Nate Kerr. And now you have Acatella and Hendricks going too wide. Acatella decided, I'm going to go around Hendricks right here through the final S's. Now it's down to Acatella to set a gap to the Croc Promotions driver on this lap by the time they get back around to the straightaway before the checkered flag. It's all going to come down to maintaining the gap before the straightaway now. All these battles are going to be in a holding pattern. The car ahead is really not going to want to be ahead, but for now they kind of have to accept their role. But you might see some games get played as we get to the end of this lap. Francois Schink running 4th place here. He picked up 1 win this season, continuing a trend that he has had. Schink has had at least 1 win in each of the last 5 seasons. Has been exactly 1 win for 4 of the last 5. He picked up 3 in season 10. That was a really good season for him. But season 11 was actually his best performance in a while, where he placed 2nd in that championship. Currently runs 4th in this one. And this will be a good points day for him, whether he finishes ahead of Raymond or not. Francois Schink picked up his 1 win this season at VIR Grand. It was a fantastic performance. Really just the class of the field. Won by over 4 seconds. 2 is very close as they come through turn 1. So there go those 2. Now there's Bauer and Bertolucci. Mike D'Almeida is currently trying to hunt that pair down. And the Slug is behind him, not sure that he has enough time to close any gaps. And then you see Damon Mitchell, and there goes Young C. Lin with Nate Kerr in close proximity. And there's your leader, Michael Polasek. He is looking for another victory on the season. So far, it has been 5 wins. This would be his 6th. And this would give him the ever so slight edge into the season finale at Bathurst. A track not entirely dissimilar from the Nürburgring in the way it feels and drives. Just in a miniature sort of package in Australia instead of Germany. It'll probably be much warmer. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Polasek is not wasting any time on this lap. He's been purple in, so for reference, there are 13 sectors. He's gone purple in sectors 1, 2, and 4 on this lap thus far. So he is not slouching, and neither is Raymond 2. He is on the back of Schink. Does he go for a pass in the middle of the track? And does he go for a pass in the middle of the track and then just try and separate from Schink on the backstretch? How much pace do you think that he thinks he has? Stay on board with him for a moment. Another situation developing. JB DeJay is hanging onto the back of Evan Clavijo. They're both on the Delta podium, but DeJay only 8/10 off. He could try and flip that position by the time they get back around. He is within slipstream. 8/10 would not be enough to catch someone by the end of the straight, but 8/10 is enough to catch someone by the end of this lap. They're only halfway through the lap thus far. Nate Kerr is not losing Young C. Lin thus far. 2 is kind of in a holding pattern here. So here's a look in at Clavijo and DeJay. And it looks like Tianyi Chang and Lewis Gilbert have both crashed and gone to pit lane. They may have come together, so their days are done. Evan Clavijo, though, for him, it's battling for P2. He's got a Yellow Tide Racing driver breathing down his neck. This is so important because the Delta Team Championship, Yellow Tide is second place, SRG is first. So Evan Clavijo trying to help his sister team out by keeping JB from collecting whatever points that he can. Now Shink under a lot of pressure as they approach Bravery, but what you're going to see here is to not go for the pass. He's just going to shove him all the way down the back straight. If Shink makes a mistake, cool. If not, he'll get him at the back stretch. Through Bravery they go. And through the carousel now, you'll see there goes McKenzie. And McFarland, 6.4 seconds behind him now. And here come Shink in 2. They both dive in. And then Bauer is 8 seconds off of them. Bertolucci close in tow. And Mike D'Almeida's on the back of them as well. He may well be a factor in that fight by the time it's all said and done. Only 1.3 off. If Bauer and Bertolucci fight or Bauer slows them up a little bit, he's right there. This race will end up being about 46, 47 minutes. It's a very long white flag. The longest white flag in ATC history. The last time we came here, it was a slightly shorter layout. So these are the longest lap times in series history. Oh, Shink is playing. Here we go. Here's the games. Shink has gone wide. And you typically see a driver go wide and you go, oh, he's made a mistake. I don't think he's made a mistake. I think Shink may have intentionally let through there, and now he is in position as they come to the back straight to get the slipstream, not 2, and he's going to try and manage the gap. Has he judged this well? Has he done it too early, or has he judged it to perfection? We're about to find out. They are still a little ways away from coming onto the straightaway. One person who is not is your leader, Michael Polasek. He, as the sun starts to set, he's got a monumental lead, 13.3 seconds. This is the important bit for all these drivers following, trying to get slipstream onto the straight. For Shink, Bertolucci, for Youngsi Lin. This carousel, that carousel can be a real killer. Shink is 4/10 off. This is the gap you want. Bertolucci, oh, look at this. Bowers missed the carousel. He's playing games, but when you miss the carousel, you lose a lot of time, and I think he has given too much time to Bertolucci. I think he may have flubbed it. Now down the straightaway, here we go. You can play the Jaws music. Because here comes Francois Shink. And here comes Michael Polasek. Out of the final corner. He called his shot. He picked the track. It's a grand slam. Pole led every lap. Wins the race. Michael Polasek across the line. Back to the battle for 4th. Shink has pulled alongside 2. He's gotten around Raymond 2. McKenzie's going to come 2nd. McFarland 3rd. But this battle for 4th, this is what we're looking at. Shink into the final corner. It looks like he may have this a bad run out of the corner, though. Here they go down to the start finish. 2 pulls alongside him. At the line, it's Francois Shink by just 1/100th of a second. And behind, David Bauer did pull it off. He got the slipstream. He got around Ian Bertolucci. Mike D'Almeida was not close enough to capitalize. Youngsi Lin got around Damon Mitchell before they got to the final corner. So he collects a P10 after starting P26. And JB DeJay at the end of the straight, battling for P2 in the Delta class, going around Evan Clavijo. Acatella did this to him early in the race. He was helpless. Now Clavijo is helpless. And into the final corner, that's going to be P2 for DeJay, but P1 for Nate Kerr. What a drive from him. He wins the Delta class by over 23 seconds. Absolutely incredible drive from the Bearcat Motorsports driver. There's Young C. Lin, another great drive. Michael Polasek, he is on a tear. Now he is set up an incredible showdown. Next week at Bathurst, it's going to be winner take all. And I hope you're there to see it. I hope you're there to watch. The final drivers coming across the line now. Polasek with this win, taking a small championship lead. His teammate McKenzie running out of gas there. Polasek also set the fastest lap of the race as part of the Grand Slam. On the last lap, 9:03.61. That was 3 seconds faster than the next best lap by Logan McKenzie. Absolutely incredible pace from the defending champion. Quite ominous. Quite an ominous statement as the championship fight heads to its inevitable finale at Bathurst. There's still 2 cars on the track. You got Mitchell Rickmeyer coming down the back straight for Yellow Tide Racing. He'll pick up a 22nd place, which is good points. Him and JB DeJay. And when you look at Fuada Ridgely, he finishes 20th. And then Kyle Murray 28th. So they will gain some ground on SCRG heading into the final race. The Delta Team Championship will remain very close and very winnable for both of those teams. Rickmeyer coming across the line now. And with Tyler Potts, the last car on track, that will about do it from here at the Nürburgring. We will get your final results to you in just a moment. Now for a look at your race results. Michael Polasek, 13.5 seconds ahead of Logan McKenzie, who himself was 9 seconds ahead of Dan McFarland. That's your 1, 2, 3 on the podium. Francois Schenck, Raymond 2 come 4th and 5th. Bauer, Bertolucci, De Almeida, The Slug, and Yongsi Lin round out the top 10. Nate Kerr wins the Delta class with DeJay and Clavijo on the podium alongside him. And further down the order, you see Ridgely in 20th. Micah Hendricks finishes behind Acatella in 14th. James Carr and John Lazon, not great days for them, 26th and 27th. And Bobby, 29th. And that does it for the race here at the Nordschleife. There is one round to go at Bathurst. It's a winner take all for Yellow Tide Racing and SCRG. It's winner take all for Sim Racing Grid and Yellow Flag Motorsports. And it's winner take all for Logan McKenzie and Michael Polasek, your defending champion. At Bathurst, it will come down to the wire, and even JB DeJay has an outside shot at the Delta title if something cataclysmic happens to Nate Kerr, or maybe DeJay wins the race. Hey, you never know. With one race to go, I'll leave you with our current championship standings. We'll see you next week for the finale, and good night.